Moving on to item number 6, presentations. Our CAO has a presentation today. Read the councillor priorities. Mr. CAO, good morning. The floor is yours.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor and members of council. I'm very pleased to be before you today, providing an update on how staff is doing at implementing all of your priorities. As you know, we shook things up a little bit almost a year ago, where the town of Wasaga Beach had for many years established term of council priorities, but oftentimes there were 5, 6, 7, maybe a dozen priorities. This council directed us to implement 84. That's a lot, and it felt a little overwhelming at the time, but on behalf of all the staff before you and all the staff back at their desks right now, I'm very pleased to share the progress, and I think we're thrilled with how staff have rallied around council's direction. Chris, there we go. I wanted to start off with a few highlights of 2023. Many of you will recall the opening of Gateway Casino. I think that was a big step for this town. Not only is it creating a number of jobs, one of our largest employers in our community at the moment, but it's raising a lot of money that's being used for some great causes, funding things like a medical clinic. We saw today that it may be able to be used for other great community events, not only within Wasaga Beach, but to help the region. So that's a tremendous highlight of 2023. April wine, Carpet Frogs. I think will go down as probably one of the top 2 or 3 events that have ever occurred in this community. Just a wonderful event that occurred back on the Labor Day long weekend. What we are rediscovering is that this community is passionate about music and events. And I think this is very important to moving forward, how we can leverage that, rediscover our heritage, all of the history that was in that Dardanella, and really chart out a course for us that can be a strong economic driver for the future of this town. And it's fun for our community. Beach Drive, a very important step. As we're looking at redeveloping our beachfront, this community had a couple years to test drive what it was like to have that road closed. And I think overwhelmingly our community has told us they like it open. I had an opportunity to get out and talk with a number of the businesses down there over the course of 2023, the summer months. And the feedback that I'm hearing, the feedback that council has shared with me, is that the businesses preferred the street being open. It brought more people down to the beach. It was livelier, it was more active. It was fun, and more importantly, it makes the beachfront accessible to all. For those of us that aren't able to get out and walk or ride a bicycle down to the beachfront, and you just prefer to take a little drive around just to see what's going on, I do it 2 to 3 times a day in the summertime. It's fun just to see what's going on at the beachfront. So I think that was an important step that the council acted on quickly, and it will inform how we're moving forward with redevelopment of the beachfront. Met with Director Lalonde last week to talk about the environmental assessment and how we approach Beach Drive. So that was a good lesson for us to understand and will help inform moving forward. We have, and part of our DNA moving forward will be to engage the community as much as possible on as many things as possible. Beachfront revitalization, everybody I talk to, it's one of the top 5 things on people's minds. For the past few years, it was operating under a cone of silence. You can't do that in a community for something that is that important to your residents. So we very quickly launched community engagement around the beachfront. We held some sessions back in the fall. We had a great turnout, and great passionate residents came out with their ideas to share with us. And that's how we will operate moving forward as we develop the plan, refine the plan, and we will continue to provide updates to our community about what's coming forward down at the beachfront, and as well as other initiatives across the town. So we look forward to many more exciting community meetings moving forward. Beachfront activation, I want to give a shout out to Giuliano Dani, who stepped up and Just before the election, we had some buildings torn down, we had a splash pad decommissioned, and it left us with a gaping hole on our beachfront. And we all recognize that for a community that our lifeline is tourism, we needed to do better. So Giuliano mobilized a crew and very quickly brought in some food trucks and built a little community theater where we put on performances all summer. And I think the general consensus is that it worked really well. So again, it's temporary, but it filled the gap and it brought some much needed life to our beachfront over the last little while. Provincial relations, I'm very pleased to inform council and the community that we have reestablished connections with multiple levels of government, multiple ministries. This is critically important to our future and all of the wonderful things that we want to do. This image specifically is a session that myself and the Economic Development Officer attended in the fall. We were invited by the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Sport to attend an investment session where they had invited some of the top hoteliers in the province to come and talk with municipalities. This was directly responsible to what came forward to council last week, where we've established connections with Sunray Group. I'm pleased to say I had a call yesterday with Sunray. They're doing due diligence. They're very encouraged by what they are seeing, and they're actually thinking of going bigger than what we were thinking in terms of a hotel on the beachfront. We've also connected them with FRAM, et cetera. So just shows you the power of working collaboratively with the province on multiple levels. It can directly result in much needed things that we need in our community. The Twin Pad Arena Library, we were there for a meeting yesterday. The building's looking amazing. Looking forward to having that open for our community as soon as possible. There's a few minor things, molding here, molding there, that needs to be finished, but we're getting pretty close. And so we're looking forward to that being opened, and that the opening ceremonies that are planned for February. We've already announced some of the highlights of what will be unfolding. And I think the Deputy CEO will be making some further announcements over, I think, this week and the coming weeks about some of the other things that are planned. But it's an exciting opportunity for this community. Medical clinic, another shout out to Deputy CEO Marshall, who really championed reestablishing the medical clinic for this community. Such an important thing, important initiative, and directly related to casino revenue funding. How we're using this funding to not only help Wasaga residents, but residents across southern Georgian Bay. I know there are a lot of residents from Clearview and Springwater that use that clinic. We're ramping up. We're actively looking for more doctors and more nurses so that we can increase the level of service, but it's on the right path. And then the community hub, something we were very pleased to announce to our community. We're in a great position right now. We've actually got 2 high schools proposed on both the public and Catholic school priority lists. But this project specifically is an important one for our community. It's not just about a school, it's also about a cultural center. It's also about post-secondary opportunities and a number of wonderful initiatives such as childcare that would come with it. So we're actively reaching out to other levels of government, Ministry of Education, and we're very hopeful that we can try and bring funding here quickly so that we can get not only the school, but both schools built. I think our community deserves more than one school. There are 84 priorities that Council directed staff to undertake over this term of Council. We've completed 23. We're underway with 41, and there are 20 that we haven't started, but that list will get shortened very quickly. There are a number that will kickstart as early as January of 2024. So we're almost 80% underway with these priorities. I think for year one, and I should note this wasn't an entire year. These didn't get approved until end of Q1. So we've done a phenomenal job at delivering very quickly. And we're looking forward to 2024. I'll just go quickly through some of the highlights. I won't spend a lot of time, skim the surface. And then in questions, if council would like me to drill down deeper into any of these, we're happy to do that, and the team can answer any questions. On the complete neighborhoods, as mentioned earlier, we have successfully brought a developer back to the table for the beachfront, And that kickstarts a number of things, such as planning the redevelopment, identifying phase one, confirming all of the policy regime is in order, et cetera. So all of that work is being undertaken right now in conjunction with looking at Beach Drive. Again, I mentioned earlier, Director Lalonde and I met with the team that's leading the environmental assessment for Beach Drive. What we will look to do very early in the new year is package this all together. We want it to be planned as a cohesive whole with FRAM, with the hotel, with the design for Beach Drive, so that we're all looking at these things together, and that we can bring that forward to the community and to council and describe how we can deliver something world-class for our beachfront. Short-term activation, I've already mentioned this, so a key priority for us is to bring life to the beachfront, and not only short-term, but as part of the overall redevelopment plan, activation is a key ingredient to the economic success of our beachfront. So we will be looking at activating daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. The reason I differentiate between daily, weekly, monthly, yearly is there are different activities. Canada Day happens once a year, but there are things you should be doing every day to activate spaces. There are things that you should be doing on a weekly basis, like a farmer's market, et cetera. So we're looking at all of those ingredients to position this as a really, truly iconic beachfront destination that we once were and that we will become again. Dardanella, we did not start that in 2023, but we will look to take a look at that in 2024. So the community is aware, the previous proposals for the beachfront called for the demolition of the Dardanella. It was going to be torn down and replaced with a condo. Under this council and under staff's, when we prepared the RFP, we made it clear that the Dardanella must remain. It is not to be touched as part of the redevelopment plan that we are working on with FRAM. What we would like to do is engage the community and collaboratively figure out what the best thing to do with the Dardanella is. Is it a rebuild or a restoration? And there's dollars and differing dollars depending on what route you go. So we're going to take a look at that in 2024, prepare a business plan, and that'll help us undertake hopefully bringing that building back to life. I will say it will likely require partnerships with the federal and provincial government. So that's the way that we will likely pursue that partnership. And I think for something as iconic as the Dardanella, that's an appropriate direction to proceed. Main Street itself, we are actively looking at Main Street redevelopment, including redevelopment of town-owned properties on Main Street. But the priority for us right now is to get the beachfront going. We are not losing sight of the Main Street redevelopment. We will be creating a landowner working group and a phasing strategy for the redevelopment of the street itself. So that is still very high on our radar. Actions 12 and 13, I'm showing complete on these because the action was to explore the potential for a public high school out on Sunnydale, explore the opportunity for a community hub. We've successfully delivered those. We have 2 high schools proposed on public and Catholic school board priority lists. I believe our community is deserving of having 2 schools. I believe our community could support 2 schools, so we look forward to working with the province and hopefully getting some funding announcements in April. But the community hub specifically, I think, is a priority for this community because of all of the other things that it brings, and it really leverages the existing investments in the current Twin Pad Arena and Library. Complete streets, exploring traffic calming, again, very high on the priority list. We'll be undertaking that in 2024. Safe routes to school, making sure our kids can get to school on foot, on bicycle, again, is something that we are already underway looking at. Building additional sidewalks, that's something that gets rolled out over many years. It's part of Director Lalonde's capital priority list. I'll give you a great example. As part of the Twin Pad Arena Library, when that contract was put out, the sidewalks were cut from the budget, so the building was not going to have any sidewalks for people to walk in front of. We recognized that was not acceptable, so Again, our Giuliano stepped up, and he took it on himself, and back in November, he got it done. So when you go by the building today, you'll notice those sidewalks are in place. So that's part of this program. We're looking for those opportunities where you have to have sidewalks. It's a safety issue. So that, again, that will roll out across the community. River Road West, you've all seen it. It's under construction. It's one of the biggest projects this town has ever undertaken, and we're looking forward to it being completed. So that will happen very quickly. Wayfinding, you probably saw the new signs that we're rolling out across the community throughout 2023. There are more that will come in 2024, including some brand new gateway signs at the key entrances to town. So signs are looking great. There were a couple that got installed in the wrong location, but we very quickly got them relocated to where they were supposed to be. More transit, we hear that loud and clear from our residents that they want expanded transit service. Director Lalonde has implemented on demand, and I know this is very high on his radar to make sure that we provide opportunities for everyone to get around in an accessible way. Additional parks, there are a couple parks underway. I drive by one over on River Road East. I know Councillor Eagle probably goes by it daily. It's looking wonderful. I can't wait for the spring to see all the kids playing in it. And I know my kids will probably be there as well. Completing the TPEL, I'm looking forward to changing that to green very early in the new year. Yeah, so those are wonderful initiatives that will roll out over the next little while. Feasibility study, looking at the existing arena, the Wasaga Stars Arena. That is underway, and we've had a number of discussions with council about some other opportunities that could pertain to affordable housing on the site. So we will report back early in 2024 as to some recommendations for council's consideration on the adaptive reuse of that building. Community events, that's something that is very high on our radar. Our events team is working diligently to ensure that we deliver the best quality activation that we can in our community. We will be meeting early in the new year to review an event strategy. We want to start focusing not on volume, but on quality. And if there are things that have really plateaued, maybe it's time to rethink some of those events and focus on the ones that we can grow. The goal here is not just to put on an event, it's to create a festival around an event. So if you're having a concert on one day, how can you turn that into a 3, 4, or 5-day event so that you can attract longer stay families that bring money to your economy, help all your businesses, restaurants, et cetera. So that's some of the thinking that we're looking at right now. Implementing a Christmas market, I know that was very high on this council's radar. We have done that. We got it up and running. We learned a lot. We made some mistakes. We're going to improve for next year. But it was important to get it up. The one thing we did learn is it takes a year to get a proper Christmas market in place so that you can get out and secure vendors. We delivered the Christmas market here in a matter of a couple months, which was extremely challenging. And I want to give credit to our events team for being able to pull that off. It was not easy, but we've learned from year one, and we look forward to year 2 and beyond, turning this into a major attraction for South Georgian Bay. And I will share that a lot of the vendors that came this year, they've already asked to come back. So that gives us a leg up for 2024 so that we can make it that much better. Affordable housing, key priority. You just heard some of the issues from the Busby Center. So we will be moving forward with our Affordable Housing Task Force in January. And then that will allow us to proceed with a number of the actions in this area. Building more affordable housing. We have had a number of discussions with the county. There is a call for proposals out right now. We are actively working on submitting for those. We've got a couple of projects that we think will rank very highly on their radar. And we're looking forward to delivering on building affordable housing, not just talking about strategies, but actually building more affordable housing in our community. Short-term rental, that project is well underway. You'll be hearing more about that early in 2024. It's an interesting project because of what we're trying to achieve with a hotel or hotels moving forward. That works in direct relation to a hotel. So we have to make sure that our strategy on short-term rentals does not work at odds with the ability to deliver a hotel. So a lot of complicated issues that will be packaged as part of that, but it is underway and it will be before you fairly soon. Happy, healthy, safe, inclusive community. Number of things we are doing here. Council recently implemented a windrow clearing program for 2023. Again, this is something we will evaluate the success of it. Let's see how it works this winter. And it's something that I think we will look to continue to improve upon as we move forward to make sure that we're helping those residents within our community that need a bit of assistance clearing windrows. I know they can be heavy and hard to move, so that's something that we will actively work on. Emergency Support Network, the chief presented the Warming and Cooling Center report to you recently, and we will actively work with not only the Busby Center but the county on this initiative, and the chief and I had a long chat with Mina from the county about a week ago, talking about all of the resources that they have already in place, but I believe they are actively interested in working with us to look at longer-term solutions. Motels are not longer-term solutions, so I think that's where the county would like to go. Restoring the walk-in clinic, that was a major accomplishment for this community. I wish the previous one hadn't been canceled because that is a very hard thing to pull off. And I know you've lost a few years working on that one, Deputy CAO. Increasing representation of First Nations, very important for us. We are actively reaching out, and I think you'll see more in 2024 of what we can do to engage First Nations in the things that we do in our community. Anti-bullying event, this was hosted in the early spring. Thank Deputy Mayor for taking the lead on this one. It was an eye-opener for me. I attended the event. I went home and shared the things I learned with my kids, and I hope others that attended did the same. There was some shocking things that we learned, but it's important that as parents and as kids we understand it's a different world from when we grew up. So compliments on that. I think it was an excellent initiative. Panhandling bylaw, this is something that General Manager Rogers will be addressing very early in 2024. We talked about earlier reopening of Beach Drive. Creating jobs, diversifying the economy is obviously critical to our town. We are in discussions. Economic Development Group is looking at ways to diversify the economy. We have an economic development strategy that really focuses on creative economy, service industries like medical services, as well as small-scale manufacturing. Those are probably okay as supplements to tourism, but I would strongly argue that the creative economy is probably one that we should really be focusing hard on in 2024. So that's something that we'll be working on and coming before council fairly soon with some recommendations. There's a green colored complete label beside exploring the feasibility for a cultural center. The reason for that is that's packaged as part of the community hub with the partnership with the Catholic School Board. So looking forward to delivering that. It's a very cost-effective way at delivering a cultural center that could, if we went alone, you could be in the $10 to $20 million to build something like that on your own in today's market. So leveraging our opportunity there with the community hub, I think, is a very smart way to deliver a cultural center. Pursuing foreign direct investment, this is something that never stops. It's incredibly challenging for Wasaga Beach to attract FDI because we're competing with the big cities, the big centers that have 400 series highways and heavy rail and airports. So, but again, it's not lost on us. It's something we do actively pursue almost on a daily basis. Undertaking business roundtables, we've had a couple already undertaken during 2023. There was one a little over a week ago. Our business community has thanked us for once again re-engaging with them, listening to their concerns, and working with them as a partner to help them be successful. So leveraging some other things, we're working on small business marketing campaigns, as well as leveraging the SBEC, the Small Business Enterprise Center in Wasaga. We're looking forward to SBEC having a presence in our new Twin Paddle Arena Library. And I know the Deputy CAO has been working with them to figure out how we can get them there on a regular basis so that they're actively delivering the needs of our businesses within our own community. The tourism destination marketing plan, that is well underway, and we're looking forward to recommendations very early in 2024. Very important to revisit that strategy after COVID because the world looks differently than it did when that strategy was first created. We've also been looking at creating 10 market-ready experiences for our community. Very important thing when your business is tourism. You know, when you all go on vacation, the first thing you do is Google, what can I do in this community? You should all try it and Google, what are the best things to do in Wasaga Beach? You might be shocked at what you see. I think taking a taxi ride to the airport is listed as one of the top 10 experiences. In a tourist town, that's not good enough. So what we want to focus on is developing to start 10 things that are world-class that we can start marketing across North America to attract people to come here. I think we've got a couple that would fit in that category, but we do not have 10 that I would consider world-class today. We can get there, but it takes a lot of hard work. Pursuing a junior hockey team. Again, Deputy CEO has been busy this year, so he's managed to deliver that, and we're looking forward to them skating within the new Twin Paddle Arena Library once it is open. Leveraging the Destination Marketing Fund, that's a partnership that we have with the county where we leverage our dollars to 2 to 3 of their dollars. That helped to pay for things like the Christmas market, Canada Day Festival. So that's a great partnership that we have with the county and something that we will continue to leverage. Ambassador program, I know this is high on the radar of council, and we're looking to get that underway for 2024. Again, tourist town, people need to know what are the things available for them to do in your community. We have reviewed all of the town's real estate holdings. We were in front of council a few meetings ago to make some recommendations on some of the low-hanging fruit of properties that we recommend being disposed of. There were a number through that review that, quite frankly, people had forgot we even owned. So there is a significant real estate portfolio of the municipality. So we're looking to leverage that in a little more strategic manner moving forward. And equally important is the land holdings of the province. We've been working with them. I think they own so much land that they've forgotten about what they own as well. They own a quarter of the land area of our community and quite frankly haven't invested in that asset in over 50 years. So the time for reinvestment is now. So we'll keep pushing and hopefully we can get our friends at the province to come to the table and work with us to reinvent Wasaga Beach moving forward. Customer service, the corporation of the town, this is something where we've given a lot of emphasis over the last little while. One of the first things we did was look at our HR policies. We established, we call it Work Your Way Wasaga, to give people the flexibility. All of our lives, all of our needs are different, whether you have young children, elderly parents that you're caring for. So a bit of flexibility on how you can manage your day but still get your work done. Staff have responded amazingly well. They're thrilled with it. It's given them flexibility. We have not seen any impact to the quality of work. I would actually argue that people are actually working a little harder because you're giving them flexibility to do that. It's also really important to make us competitive in the job market. I will remind council and the community that we lost over 61% of our workforce during the last term of council. That is off the charts. It's not sustainable. It tells alarm bells going off that you need to do something. So this was part of a start in how we invest in our staff. We will be starting a rewards and recognition program as well as a leadership training program. In the history of this corporation, there has never been any training for managers, supervisors, and directors on how to be effective leaders. We will be rolling that out in 2024. It's so important to equip your leaders with those types of skills. Regular satisfaction surveys, we'll be working with our Director of HR to roll those out in 2024 so we can get candid feedback. How are we doing? Are we striking the right chord? Are we developing a good, positive work environment? Everything I'm hearing is we've made incredible strides to stabilize the corporation. We conducted an organizational review. We didn't create massive change, some minor tweaks to equip us for the future. And so far it's working well. There will likely be small tweaks over the years as we grow and evolve as a corporation. But I think we've got a great team in front of you who have certainly rallied around delivering all of these priorities for council. Increasing community engagement. This is now part of our DNA. This is the way we will operate moving forward. And I hope the community can see that and appreciate that we may not always agree on everything, but we're listening. We hear you. We take your feedback seriously, and if we don't agree with you, we'll tell you why, and we'll explain why we're doing certain things. Standardizing RFPs, that was done, so now we have a very effective and quick way to be able to release documents. It's effective, it's transparent, increasing transparency of Town Hall, something that we all value. I know our Director of Treasury is doing a number of initiatives that will open up the town and make it easier to access for our community. Reviewing the business licensing process, we actually had a draft. We were almost ready to come forward to council, and then we met internally and we said, you know what, it's just not good enough. We need to make it better and a little more innovative. So GM Rogers is working on this right now, and this will come forward early in the new year. And we will engage our businesses on this. We want this to be a licensing program that is collaborative and not seen as overly aggressive or harsh on the part of the municipality. So it's something that we'll be bringing forward shortly. Pursuing a ward system, I think, is something that we'll bring forward to council early on in 2024 as well, at least some recommendations. We've got the parking payment strategy already in place for the beachfront. The parking strategy itself will evolve as part of redevelopment, and that's a natural thing. It's something that will continually be revisited as the town grows and evolves. Expedited homeowner permit process. General Rogers mentioned to me that one should probably be green because that one's been under a while. Sorry? Yeah. It's been underway for a while. Supplier contractor code of conduct, that is now in place. The rules around how, if you're going to do business with the town, how you should behave. And so that is in place now. And one of the first things council did in 2023 was update the indemnification policy and remove the ability for council to sue residents of our community. That's just not something that you will find in, I don't think, any municipalities' indemnification policy. Updating the client portal, that again is something that's underway and will roll out early in 2024. Building the reserves back up, something that we will continue to do over the years, and exploring grants to reduce the residential financial burden. So back to the last and not least, green initiatives. We have struck an environmental advisory committee. That committee is now up and running, and I know they have a number of initiatives that they're going to be looking at rolling out over the course of the remaining term of council. Town beautification program, I will be bringing forward a report in late January, early February that will detail a whole strategy on what we can do to clean the town up, make it look a little more beautiful, which is important in a tourism town. We are underway with transitioning to a green fleet. Part of that requires a bit of infrastructure investments and charging stations, et cetera, but that is underway. Improvements to active transportation infrastructure, something that will roll out over the years, and that's included in Director Lalonde's 10-year forecast. And then the final two, we're underway with undertaking conservation energy management plan and introducing green retrofits for town buildings. That's a lot, and I've gone through it very quickly. If I was to go in detail, we would have been here for hours, but rest assured, there's a lot of work going on in this corporation. We're all working hard, but there's an excitement as well. I think these are all forward-looking and are going to position Wasaga Beach well for the future. Happy to take any questions.